Write your name and call so we know your name.
All right, so since we don't have a broadcast feed yet, I'm just going to record and then I'll see about uploading it later. And
Any guess?
what's that?
Any guess?
Yes. We'll introduce ourselves. We'll just pretend like it's 7 o'clock now.
Okay.
I mean, it's 7 o'clock now.
Not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's 7
Right.
o'clock.
It was.
Now. It just turned 7 o'clock.
That works.
Oh, look at that, 7:01. Perfect, 7:01.
That's what I did.
So,
What's with the brown base?
That thing's gorgeous. Did
It's
you
a
try
beautiful-
the action?
I have a sharpening stone that looks just like that base, and it's like a 4,000 grit. I'm wondering if maybe
I'll explain later.
Sure.
It's about identical to that, except has a solid one instead of two weights.
Well, this one had a solid one on there, then I put
Oh,
two.
okay.
All right, so let us make sure that everybody signs up, and then I'll tell you what, from this chair here, we'll move. Let's go counterclockwise tonight, because then our guests can be, or most of them, can be introduced so that everybody knows who's who. My name is Mike. I'm in 6MQL, and I'm the president for this year, and then we'll see what happens next
Ad
year.
infinitum.
No. You have to get me. I have to.
Four more years.
No, I have to accept the nomination before I can be voted again. Just remember that. In any case, this is great. Look, if I put this paper up here, it actually makes me look almost thin. So
I need 2 pieces of paper.
I could go like that.
Reality shapes the Niles worse.
There we go. That's perfect. And let me get rid of one of those chins too. Perfect. In any case, yeah, N6MQL, Mike, and then our secretary here. Go ahead.
I'm Chris, AI6U. I'm the secretary. I don't know how long I've been doing it, but can't remember.
Ad infinitum.
Yeah. Well, we've already decided.
40 more years.
Yeah.
Feels like it.
John, WB6UBK.
And you are the vice president. Hey,
One
doesn't-
advice.
Now, see, that's
President
humble.
advice.
Well, yeah.
In charge of ice.
All right. On
Thank you.
next.
Okay, I'm Ron, N6KIX.
Phil, KD6RF.
Art, KD6, GBY.
Mark, AJ6FL.
Ryan, no call sign.
Okay.
Levi, KI6Z Papa Lima. Charlie, no call sign yet.
Okay. Good.
Dale, KU7WJR.
Eras, KM6TVV.
Mike, K6LQ.
Dennis, KG6ZI.
Robert, K6REJ.
David, K6CIM.
Excellent. And once again, Mike has figured out how to elude the camera. Always puts himself right where that camera can't see him. It's amazing. Good job once
Blind
again.
man.
Good job. You know, Dennis, don't worry if you want to move in closer to the table or lean back a little. I want you to feel comfortable.
I'm fine, thank you.
Of course you are. Great. Okay. So again, like I said, we announced Dave Minke, KM6GYM, as our new member. Thank you for joining. Please, if you haven't already, send him an email, members, just to say welcome. You know, it's really nice when you join a new club that somebody is there to say
Tell them you'll take the donation.
hello. Yeah, you know. A few of you guys were at the California QSO party. I actually showed up. I know some of you guys didn't see me, but I was there. I came, the last 2 hours, John?
Yeah, last 2 hours.
Yeah,
Something
so,
like that, yeah.
yeah, so
Seemed longer.
I showed up, and then, and I've got some results for that, so we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And also, the bug roundup, we'll talk about that in a few minutes too. Bug roundup is coming up this month, and in celebration of that announcement, Rob brought in his bug to show everybody who's a non-ham what a bug looks like.
Representative bug.
That's right, the representative bug.
Smooth.
So that just went right. That was a perfect Perfect thing to say. I don't know, I'm sure we already talked about it, but the microphone that sits on the table over here is new as of last
a
month. That is a microphone. So for those who weren't here for the last meeting or,
Sure looks like a hockey puck.
yeah.
It's like a Wi-Fi extender.
So what it is,
Is it iambic microphone?
it is an iambic microphone actually. So the camera always sits over here, and this wall here is where the air conditioning heating system is. So of course, every time the air and
Is it A or B?
the AC goes on, the return vent down here just makes a ton of noise. Yeah, and the camera was just picking that up, and
Yeah.
plus it was such a high gain. People were complaining they couldn't hear anything clearly. So for $25, I think, actually, yeah, $25, I picked that up, and it's an iambic. It's got two microphones in it.
One that did.
So it's omnidirectional, and if anybody has anything private to say, you can just push that little button there, and it'll mute
And
the
it says
speaker.
Heil on the outside too.
Yes, and it's a Heil. That's right.
It is a Heil, really?
No, I wouldn't have bought it.
Not a high
Come
one,
on.
thank you.
Is that the same one you use on 11 meters?
Yeah, that's the one that I use. I hold it to
Dynamite.
my ear when I'm on the radio. I don't understand why it doesn't work, but just put it to my ear.
I don't
Says
think you can
RS
buy
on
a piece
it,
of
right?
plastic from Bob Heil for $25.
Oh no, you can't. You can't. You probably can't even get that little foam thing that goes over the microphone, the pop guard.
Well, you have to buy the mic to get that.
Oh well, I'm sure after these guys on Sideman chew them up, they can buy a replacement for $49 probably. Actually, I don't know what his mics go for. I have used his headphones before with the mic on it. They make your head so sweaty. They're just
Because
like
they're all vinyl. They're,
No, they're-
Yeah.
well, they might
Yeah,
be
they're just
under,
too-
but they do
it's
have.
too hot up here for those.
It's really hot, but they sound pretty decent.
Oh,
They sound pretty decent. Of course, I think they're like $300, so they better sound decent for that.
Forget it.
Personally, I'm waiting to get some more low latency headphones because when you're doing CW, you hit the key and then you hear the beep, 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 like that. So
Well,
with
it's
the
gotta
low
be able to read
latency,
your mind, what it has to do.
well, with the low latency, that was just regular Bluetooth, but with low latency Bluetooth, when you hit the key, before your finger can get off the key, you're already hearing the beep. So if you're going really fast, it's a little bit behind, but it's not enough to confuse most people, I would think.
Yeah.
So I do have one pair of low latency headphone, but they're the full size headphones, and I don't like wearing those. So I bought these new earbuds because they said they were low latency, and they're not. So
yeah, of course not.
of course not. So nobody
Get the
makes.
wired ones, you won't end up prone.
It depends
I don't
upon
want
what
the
the
wire.
definition of low is.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's like 3 microseconds is,
Microseconds?
or
You can't
milliseconds
hear-
rather,
yeah.
milliseconds.
Milliseconds, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's 3 milliseconds versus like 8, I think.
We could get to femtosecond, couldn't we?
Yeah, that would be nice. So in any case, the low latency phones I have now, they're good enough when you can get them to pair in low latency because they're backwards compatible, so they almost always try to use the easier one. And then nobody I could find makes a in-ear earbud like the iPod type of thing that's low latency. They're all making Bluetooth 5 now, but nobody makes low latency yet. Go figure. I think it's because it's an AKG design, and AKG doesn't want to share the design with everybody.
Of course not.
Although they do license their ATX stuff, which is.
Don't worry, somebody will copy it.
Oh yeah, well you can get anything from China,
Sure.
Well, you could,
but you can't get the earbuds with the low latency, not yet. So I'm waiting on that.
you can talk to W6JL.
Well, he uses RF because he does use headphones,
He
but
uses
they
wireless
are.
headphones and a wireless key, so he
Yes.
can be in the kitchen eating lunch.
That's right.
Sitting here.
And he'll tell you all
Yeah,
the time.
all about
that
He will
is.
do that, yes.
I don't know that he really is, but
he
he'll
tell
tell
you
you
that.
he
I
is.
think he's a fan.
He's a
Yeah,
fan.
but the signal always sounds.
Well, he's just, it's an analog setup.
Because he had log periodic.
Well,
He's got a beam on
Well, I've
setting.
seen the picture. Have you ever, do you have this QSL card?
1240.
That sucker is huge.
Welcome.
Yep.
This is the AA meeting. That's all right. You can pick anyone you want.
Wait a minute, I want
Bring
to,
your own bubble.
If you don't like the meeting, you can always go to another one here somewhere in the
We
building.
can start one.
Yeah, you can start your own meeting. I'll give you a key to the next door.
there you go.
That attendance sheet, if you could push it back this way, we'll have our next guest. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Scott? Okay.
Your call? Your call?
Are you an amateur radio operator?
I am not.
Are you interested in amateur radio?
No.
He's
Okay.
here for the AA meeting.
He might be.
Oh, I am.
No, it's not.
Oh,
You know what though? I don't think there are any other AA meetings that are going on in the building. Usually they're either in the parlor, which is like when you go to the front of the church, there's the little chapel, and then right past that is a parlor. And then the only other place that I know that there's a meeting is in the courtyard room, which is when you first walk in from the back. When you walk into that back gate, there's a room on the right-hand side. But I didn't see anybody there, and the maintenance guy told me that he was leaving
I
because.
saw him last.
You saw the maintenance guy? Oh, well, he's just pointing everybody this direction.
Yeah.
You're welcome to join us if you want.
Good luck.
Thank you, though.
Come back.
Now that we have.
Yeah, come back if you want. You're welcome here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, I was only joking when I
I
said
didn't-
that.
That's funny.
I didn't see the meeting
I
next
didn't
door.
realize they held those meetings.
There's no meeting.
One for Phil.
No, that's okay. I knew that there
True
was.
confession.
No, he was convinced it was.
Right. he
Yeah.
was.
We love the heart.
So, that means we all like girls.
Who are those morons up there?
40 years I've lived in a dumpster, I'm getting tired.
God.
Yeah, well, I know that we do have an AA meeting here, so I just assumed that he might be, but I was hoping he was not going to be, so that I didn't make him feel uncomfortable.
Well, you have a Teenan on here too, right?
No, we don't.
I thought you did.
No, we don't.
What?
For alcohol
For teens.
for teens.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They have that.
No,
We don't have it here.
Alateen, no. Alateen is for
The
teenagers
parents?
who have alcoholic parents, so they can learn
Yeah.
coping skills.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
And then there's
Yes.
That is huge.
yeah, there's a narcotics one too.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what else. So we had the swap meet, right? I guess is that what? Did anybody go to Pacificon?
Yeah, quite a few.
Oh, good. At least 3 people. So we'll start with you, Phil. Tell us about Pacificon. What did you do while you were there?
Well, of course, the first day is the antenna seminar session.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
which is always interesting.
Okay.
And then, of course, Saturday is primarily the sessions, the training sessions. So I sat
Right.
in on a few of those.
What were they presenting? Do you know? I didn't look at the schedule.
I'm trying to remember what I paid attention to. They had, actually, I don't even remember what they were.
You should have done the speaking. You've got plenty enough to talk about.
But the important thing about Pacificon is when we left on Sunday morning, I took my bride up to Bodega Bay,
Okay.
oh, there you are.
46th anniversary.
Oh, nice.
Oh, there you
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And the secret to that is, if anybody's having any issues, the secret is every morning when you wake up at 4:30, like I do, you whisper in her ear, you have no idea how lucky you are to be married to a guy like me.
Right.
And it's that subliminal message.
Right. Before she wakes up, you're saying. Right.
I thought Mike was full of it.
And it worked.
Oh, no, it
I
works.
don't think you're buying it. What do you think, Art?
I don't know, it works for you.
46 years.
I just take a CD and play a CD quietly and when she's asleep.
Really?
It just goes all night.
Yeah. 46 or 47 years or so.
His only Kiss CD.
73.
73.
When does that work? Okay, 46.
Oh,
October 20th?
No,
No, probably not.
there you go.
August.
So, so you
Okay.
did go to a few of the seminars then.
Yes.
That's good.
Actually, Bob Heil did an interesting one on phased 40-meter antennas.
He did.
What do you know
He
about
talks about antennas, huh?
Okay, better than the microphone.
He knows quite a bit about
That's
antennas.
like Gordon West teaching Morse code.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard Gordon West on 40 meters on Sunday morning.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did I get on the air?
On
Yeah,
CW?
I heard him, he's, running a net.
Did he recite chapter and verse?
Was he running a CW net?
Yeah, it was,
Really?
really.
Wow.
No, I got his con that, and Gordon,
Right.
so who else could be Gordon West with that call? I used to know his call.
In a way, right.
And that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, good for him. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
now it wasn't fast, I mean, you guys.
That
it
doesn't
was a
matter.
contest,
You don't have to be fast
Right.
to know what you're doing.
Right,
Oh,
yeah, he was understandable, I mean, slow enough for me, put it that way.
That's
Yeah.
15.
Probably
Yeah,
faster
roughly.
than you think.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So,
Well, that's good. I'm
You
glad
could
to know that
beat
he's on
PW
the air.
Back in the old days.
No, I know. That's why I said that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
I mean, all his books,
Well,
he
you
tells
should know,
people
you live
the
there.
code,
Hmm.
encourages it, and I think, I mean, the guy's devoted his life to ham radio.
He has,
So
absolutely.
you have to.
I wonder if it was because he really loved it. At first, I believe he did, but I wonder if it was that. And then when the money started coming in, he
Well,
dedicated.
I don't think anybody, do you really think he'd get rich off this?
Yes, I think Gordon.
There are
was,
some,
yeah.
Serious.
MFJ, what's his name?
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He's done very
Jim,
well with
is
it.
that what it is?
And Gordon has done well, but he's actually a cultural icon within that thing. He's well recognized.
Yeah.
He genuinely enjoys
well,
himself.
and Bob Sherwood, who does,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Bob
And
Sherwood
you know,
does
believe it or
some-
not, Bob Heil is quite an advocate for amateur radio.
Oh, I believe it.
yes, he
And,
is.
I
and
believe it, yeah.
beyond that, he's made, well, you know all about his microphone world.
Sure.
You're in that part of
Right.
that industry.
Yeah.
But he credits amateur radio to a very large degree with his success in the audio world.
Yeah, I believe
Well, he
that.
was friends with that
Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh,
Yeah.
who got started because he was a ham radio operator and he was fixing the amplifiers
Right.
for his band, the Eagles.
Yeah.
So,
Well, he had his
What's
own,
wrong with the Eagles?
no,
nothing wrong with the Eagles.
Joe-
I'm saying, he
Joe
got
Walsh
started
had his,
as a young kid, as a novice.
Well, Heil was the organ player.
Yeah.
Heil was the organ player?
He was an organ, well, not for the band.
Yeah, not for
I
the
mean,
band.
that's where he kind of really got making money with playing an organ
Right.
at some nightclub.
Hmm.
Joe Walsh's sister's married to Ringo Starr.
It was the bar at the Holiday Inn.
I didn't know that.
It was where he played the organ. So Bob, what I thought was
Mhm.
the most interesting about Heil's talk was that NASA asked him if they could borrow his moon bounce antennas so they could time transmissions back and forth to the moon
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't have that information
That's
for
interesting.
their Apollo stuff. So that's how.
Oh, you're going back to
And-
the
and
Apollo. Oh, okay.
amateurs
So not the current stuff.
Equipment.
Yeah.
Right.
And-
Okay.
And he was like a teenager.
Yeah, that's right.
And he had a lot next door to his parents' house, and he had, a 4 or 6 set
Right.
of air rays. And they approached him
Interesting.
because the 7 astronauts used to stay at that Holiday Inn.
Oh, by
And
his
they
house.
got to know him.
I
And
see.
when they were just sitting there shooting the shit,
Right.
they found out he was a ham radio operator, and he had this stuff, and he received a call and said, "Can we use your equipment?"
I didn't even know they were doing moon bounce that
Oh, yeah.
that long
Oh,
ago.
Yeah.
We had an 85-foot dish at Cheltenham
Yeah.
that the amateur radio club, the Navy abandoned it, and the amateur radio club rebuilt the feed line.
Is it like a KU band?
I don't know what frequency was
Either
on,
like
but
C or KU.
they did 2 contests, 2 EME contests, and then they were banned for life because
Oh,
because
it's just too much
there
signal.
was like way too much signal. Well, as soon as we
boy.
transmitted, everybody that's all they could hear.
Sure. That
That's
makes
all they
sense.
could hear was us.
They were blocking.
And so they went,
Now, what is that? That's an uplink on 430 and a downlink on 10 or something?
No, moon bounce.
Moon bounce.
Well, that's something like
It's-
that.
Yeah.
You
Is it
send the
simplex?
transmission,
No, no, man.
and then you listen on the same frequency.
Yeah, it's not
You
every
listen-
Yeah.
Oh, it is simplex. Okay, because I remember there
It's
was,
the same, usually use 10 meter.
when I worked at the Queen Mary, we had an array and a radio, and it was specifically made for It was I guess maybe it was satellite,
It
but
was probably
it
a
was
Russian satellite.
it was
satellite.
up on it was like up on 450 and down on 10
Yeah.
meters.
Well,
Okay,
typically,
yeah.
that uplink, downlink thing is that way.
Was
The
that-
moon bounce is, it's your signal you're listening for.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no
But
repeater
was
up there.
that part of the Queen Mary, or was that put
It
on by
is.
the
That we
earbuds?
know of.
Okay.
Although it's run by the Amateur
better to
Radio
say.
Club.
Because the Navy was trying that from ship to ship,
Yeah,
but ships tend to do this.
right. Yeah, well, they had a
They couldn't-
4-element Yagi on the center stack and a dipole.
Does that mean they were scared shipless?
Oh, so
All that stuff went in the warehouse.
yeah, all that antennas
No
that
shit, yeah.
all the antennas that were used were club antennas, and they were
Okay.
all supplied by the Amateur Radio Group, and
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that was a big boondoggle for the Navy, but they use it now.
yeah, none of that was
But
put
all
up
that
by
stuff
the
back in the
ship.
'60s was,
None of the radios. There were some leftover radios in the racks for show, but all
Okay,
of the radios
commercial.
were like ICOMs and Yaesus.
They
that
haven't
were-
used, you know, the
put
last
in
time
there.
things. Sale was 56? you know,
Yeah, it's
commercial.
been a long time. I think I was there from like 80 to 87 or something,
Yeah.
or 90 even.
Something like that.
but
Something
a
like
lot of
that.
those ships kept cutting edge stuff on it, so the original stuff was long gone, you know.
Yeah,
2 or 3 years and they put all brand new stuff in.
we were the only CW operators that I knew of during my time there.
I worked a few, you know, over the years, but not many.
Yeah, there were about 4 or 5 of us that I know, and I did the Saturday shift, so we had a good shift.
Well, one of the guys lately, I can't even copy. It's
Yeah, I don't.
It's so
They have
poor.
guest operators. I'd bring anybody into the shack and let them have at it on the radio as long as they had a license and they wanted to operate. But mostly what you get are guys who would show up to the door and they'd knock on the door and look around, and then they'd want to work their HT and get a QSL card, you know, while working 2 meter, and our group would
I
just
haven't
send them
heard
away.
for a while, so.
You come on in and you can work a contact and we'll get you a QSL card, but I didn't want to work people on an HT. It's just, one of the guys did, so they got their QSL cards, but to me, that's just
Newer.
cheating.
I have a couple.
So in any case, you got some information out of that?
Yeah, I went to the antenna seminar as well, and
What type of antenna, or was it specific?
well, there's 7 different speakers, and at least half of them have multiple PhDs.
In the one seminar, there were 7 different speakers?
Yeah, Friday is, always has a series of different speakers and subjects.
The slot antenna part is, I think, probably.
That was good.
Yeah,
What's the
it's
slot
always
antenna?
amazing, and it always makes you feel really dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, these are stellar, just really, really sharp people.
Steve Stern.
Yeah, well, the woman from Apple, you know, I mean, it's just nuts, the quality that these speakers that these guys come up with. But the most emotional talk that I was at was by a ham who is a veteran who served in Vietnam.
Okay.
And he had actual recordings of phone patches because he actually ended up in the infantry, but he tried to get to be a radio operator because he was a ham radio operator. And he had images of a Huey helicopter flying log periodic, sticking sideways out of both sides of the helicopter,
Wow.
so it looked like a fixed wing aircraft. He had live footage of that coming into the base where he was at.
And it's got a built-in rotator too.
Yeah, right.
But he had real phone patches, recordings of stuff that he had handled, and one of them, actually the crowd almost, most of us were in tears because it was a gentleman who had taken fire, and he was telling his mom that his arm was getting amputated. And he would take, you know, so this was just amazing stuff.
Right.
Oh, man.
Again, how important ham radio and Mars and all that kind of
It
stuff
was.
was back then.
Sure.
Where, you know, but of course he had, you know, pictures of all the Collins S lines and stuff like that.
A lot of the Mars operators didn't hang out in the Mars stations because they were targets.
Yeah, he had a lot of shots of the antenna in the tower before,
And then
the
after,
antenna in the tower afterwards.
yeah.
Sure.
And he had made some homebrew antennas, and But that was a really, really good talk.
Nice. What's about an average 1 hour talk?
Yeah, they're 50 minutes and then a 10-minute break.
Now what if, oh, okay, so then you go back in.
So Saturday is all just sequential serial talks.
I see.
Break.
And did
And
you,
then Saturday and Sunday, there's actually at least 3 or 4 different tracks that you can go to, depending on topics. I went to a number of portable operations and soda stuff.
right.
Yeah.
And they're, very, very experienced folks.
Now you went with your wife as well, right?
No.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We went, once was enough for her.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, what did she do during this whole time? What about you,
There's
Phil?
not a whole lot to do down
What
there.
did your wife do? She
Well,
didn't go in there
when
with
we
you, did she?
arrived on Thursday evening, we went down on Thursday, we had dinner over at the Slanted Door,
Mm,
which is across the street there. Phenomenal meal.
really?
And the bill that came with it was equally
Phenomenal.
phenomenal.
Sure.
But Deb did a little shopping and kicking around. She's quite into gardening. She's a master gardener. So
Right.
she checks out all
Is
the.
there a shopping center across the street?
Yeah, I
literally
think so.
across the street.
Right, okay.
Trader Joe's or not
Trader Jose.
Whole Foods
Yeah.
is within a short walk.
Yeah.
So a lot of people actually go there and get their soups and salads.
Oh,
and
right,
lunches
yeah,
and
that
stuff
makes
like
sense.
Instead of the $30 Cobb salad at the,
Yeah.
They actually did a pretty good job with their lunches.
yeah.
Yeah,
They actually had food that was affordable for cheap hams.
Mhm.
Really?
Whereas normally you go to a Marriott and it's, $12 for a fruit salad.
At
Yeah,
least.
They had
And-
breakfast burritos and stuff like that for $6. That were
Oh,
actually
okay.
good.
Oh,
they
that,
were
yeah,
being
well, why
reasonable.
not?
And they served everyone really fast.
and the room rates were pretty reasonable.
Yeah, they sold out. I didn't even get to stay there. I had to stay a mile away.
What
See.
kind of river is?
I think it was like
Gotta be early.
It started at around 140 and then
yeah,
went up to
146,
160.
I think is what it
Conference
was.
radio?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they got sold out, so I ended up at.
That's not bad.
Marriott.
Even Boomtown.
For the Bay Area.
The area flea bag is $100.
Even Boomtown, Reno was 120, I think.
We went to Seaside this year as well, and God, Seaside was almost $200.
Yeah,
Really?
that's normal.
When I worked at the Iwani Hotel, the ground floor room was $32 a night.
Yeah.
How many centuries ago was that?
Now it's $350.
I was gonna say, yeah, Motel
Back in
6
the
used to
early
be,
eighties, late seventies, $6.
right,
Plus maybe the hotel tax, which at that time was only like
$1
$2.
or
Yeah,
two,
something like
yeah.
that.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
in Davis, it was like $8 a night back in the early '70s.
Yeah.
At the Motel 6, it was like
Sure.
$9 a night. It was
Yeah,
not bad
it's
at
about
all.
$9, I remember.
Yeah.
It's still about $90 now though, which is, considering the prices of everything
Yeah.
else, not bad. And you're just spending the night, who cares? But, well, good, glad you had a good time, both of you, and Dennis, you as well.
We had a whole class for scouts there, so you could get your merit badge in one day.
Well, that's good.
It started at 8 in the
Oh, I
morning.
forgot about
and
that.
went
Oh,
till
now I
like
do
1 in
want
the
to do
afternoon.
But they don't really have a radio merit badge anymore, do they? I think it's like communication.
Communication, they actually have 2 related
Yeah, there's 2.
badges now.
Okay.
But there were a lot of scouts there, and that was also, they had the station there for
Right.
scouts on the air. and
Well,
stuff.
it used to be
Dave,
that
can I
if you
have
got
that,
your
please?
merit badge, you had already passed everything except for the written exam for the novice test.
Yeah.
So you get your merit badge and then,
It was
yeah.
significant.
yeah, if
Back
somebody,
in the day, yeah.
if somebody was taking care of you right, then 2 weeks later, you did your 20-question novice exam.
Yeah.
But that's how a lot of people got it.
I can't remember.
So when you said soda, you meant scouts, right?
No, so,
Or,
sorry for the acronym.
Yeah.
no, I didn't,
So,
they use the same one, right?
so
Soda
soda
Summits or,
is, in this case, is Summits on the Air.
right,
Right.
It's actually started by a bunch of Brits.
yeah.
Which is
Well, that's where the
since they-
website is,
Since
isn't
they
it?
don't have
Right.
mountains
Yeah.
there.
Isn't that what
it's
they
kind of
call the
odd.
scouts too, the soda as well?
Oh, Scotland.
Scouts on the Air.
Or scouts also do.
Yeah,
Jamboree.
yeah,
Yeah.
Scouts on the Air, the Jamboree.
Yeah.
Jamboree.
Speaking of which, that was like 2 weeks ago, I think.
I think it was.
Is that what it was?
Something like that.
Yeah, so I went to the Scouts, it was both at the same time, it was the Scouts Jamboree and the Eternal Flame,
Okay.
flag
That was
burning
the same weekend
ceremonies.
as
Yeah.
Pacific.
The 19th, that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
the
Well,
same
it's a
weekend
Very
as
popular
PacificCon.
weekend.
I said you weren't gonna make
There's
it
a lot of
there.
stuff going
No.
on.
Because they had the station there for Boy Scouts as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
100 AW, because that's another celebration.
right,
What a caller.
yeah, I know.
100, are you kidding me?
Well, send teas
It's not a
instead.
contest call.
Just send teas. But that event that I went to was over at the Gibson Ranch Park. And there were about 6 of us, I believe. Orion is in charge of the ARRL youth organization. And he had 4 other members, I guess, of his group that he's in, which is, I think, is probably in Auburn. I think his group is out of Auburn. I don't know which one it is. W6EK maybe. And then it was me. And obviously I did the sideband stuff, and they all did the data. No. Yeah, I did all the CW stuff, and we had a really good turnout. Orion was helpful. He went out and gathered up scouts to come over to the booth and see what was going on, and they worked their way through the sideband stuff and then stayed at the CW table, just like always. It was perfect.
Well, it's something new. I think it kind of
Well,
interests them.
to
you
them,
know?
everything is new. They don't
Right.
know anything about radio.
Right.
But I never even turned on the radio. I didn't even have a chance, and they didn't care. They just wanted to see the Morse code working and do their little Morse code worksheet, which I've shown you a whole bunch of times, I'm sure.
Is it the same one you had at the park?
Yeah. So basically, they have the Morse key over here, and then they have an area to put their name vertically, and then they go look at the key and they code their name. So. You know, like here, it says C, and then they draw the C using this chart. And then I sit them down and I let them, I show them how to use the key properly, and they send their name on the oscillator. And usually, they don't leave the table until parents or somebody's telling them, you need to get back to what you're doing.
Get back to what you're doing.
And they drag them away. But,
Right.
yeah, but we had, of the group, we had about 3 really interested people. There was a girl that was, I'm gonna guess she was about 12, and she was super interested. And then there was a boy that was probably about 11, and he seemed really interested. He didn't go away. He was there for probably 4 hours. And then there was another boy that was probably about 13. He was pretty interested.
Okay.
So of course, what I didn't show you was on the back of that sheet is information about Morse code. It's like the story about Morse code, and then down here are all the links to how to learn, where to get licensed, and also our club, of course, where they can sign up for the Morse code class. And I think I'll probably get at least one of those 3 at the next code class. I'm pretty confident that we'll have that. So, in any case, that went really well. I posted some pictures on the W6SFM. If you go, I can't show you because I can't get online, but if you go to the website and then go to the photos section, it's there under 2019. You'll see pictures there, and you'll also see the California QSO party. Thank you, Art. You'll also find the California QSO party pictures as well. They're posted there for anybody who didn't go and wants to just see what it looked like while we were there. I wasn't there early enough to take pictures of everybody, so I only really got a few pictures of those who were there when I showed up. So sorry if you didn't make it in the pictures and you were there before I was. Let's see, what else?
Let's see.
We did pretty well. I might as well talk about it. Actually, what time is it? Well, okay. We did pretty well. The event went from, was it 9 in the morning, John?
Yeah.
So 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., I believe.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we do 12 hours. The actual event is 24 hours, but about 4 years ago, we pretty much stopped doing the 24 because we just didn't have enough participation to get people on the overnight. It usually ended up being 2 or 3 of us that always did the overnight. So I kind of put it up for vote and we shortened it down. Not that anybody would have noticed because they weren't there anyway, but we made it 12 hours instead. On the sign-up sheet for the California QSO Party contest, it's actually 14 hours, I believe. There's 3 sign-ups. There's one that's, I think it's 8 hours, 14 hours, and 24 hours. So we do 12 of the 14. So we sign up for the 14 and we do 12. But we're not looking to win the contest. That's not our deal. It's a social event, you know. It's an opportunity for us to get together and have a little fun on the air and eat John's food. So
Yeah.
I noticed he puts out a good spread. So whoever's doing the next event at their place, you're competing with John. Just remember that.
Which, by the way, is up for grabs.
What's that?
Your food?
No,
The
January.
North American
North
QSO,
American,
yeah,
that's
North
coming
American.
up.
Thank you for that. North American QSO Party comes up second or
January.
third week of January, maybe even first. I don't know. We'll announce it as we get closer. But we always do these events at somebody's house. If you've got a radio and an antenna, then we'd like to go and fill your house and eat your food. So please invite us
Kind of
over.
like a fair exchange.
Yeah, our presents for your presents. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get Bob and 6
He's okay with it, I already talked to him, but
If we can get somebody new, that'd be great. But
he said if anybody else wants to do it, that's fine,
okay,
but he's open to it.
all right. So
Okay.
that would be kind of
Being's
nice.
Hard to, yeah, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, his is hard to beat.
Hard to compete with.
He's got a 4-element step IR up
Yeah,
about
right.
60 feet. So
Anything we've heard, we've worked.
if you want to see pictures of that event for 2018, check it out on the website. Again, go to the photos page, go to 2018 and look up North American QSO Party, and you'll see what we're talking about, and you'll understand why his QTH is really nice.
Well, Mike, I was at the California Roundup. What were the numbers?
Yeah, so let's cover that. So we only worked 3 bands apparently. We worked 80, 40, and 20.
Yeah, we checked 15, but it wasn't doing anything.
And obviously it was all CW for us, Morse code. And we worked 38 contacts on 80, 40 meters we did 76 contacts, and 20 meters we did 94. So clearly 20 and 40 were our biggest bands. So 20 meters was 45% of our work. 20 was 45%, 40 was 37%, and 80 meters 18% of use.
That sounds pretty typical.
Yeah, it is actually pretty typical.
20 was really slow in the morning, but I'm surprised we did that well.
Yeah. California was clearly our best state with about 16%. We did 33 contacts. Strangely enough, Ontario was next in at 17 contacts. Washington at 11, Tennessee at 10, Texas at 10, Arizona at 9, and then everything else starts falling off. Actually, Pennsylvania was 9 also. And then it just starts falling back, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We worked 179 contacts in the United States, 23 contacts were in Canada, and 2 in Hawaii, 1 in Alaska, 1 in, I guess it's true, 1 in Honduras,
Yeah.
and 1 in Mexico. So we have, and they always count Hawaii as another country, but we have 5 countries and Hawaii, so Pacific Ocean and 5 other countries, so that wasn't bad. All right, let's see here. Counties. Sacramento, we only had 2 people in Sacramento we worked. San Luis Obispo 2, Calveras 1, El Dorado 1, LA, this is crazy. LA only 1, Modoc 1, Nevada 1.
Modoc, that's pretty rare.
It is.
Yeah.
Nevada County 1, Orange County 1, San Bernardino 1, Santa Barbara 1, Santa Clara 1, and Sonoma 1.
And I was one of the ones
Yeah, I
in
know.
Sacramento from the other side of the table. With my
Yeah,
kids.
I think you were. So we only worked with 1 other person in Sacramento.
I tried to give you Yolo County, but I could never
I think you
hear
spent
you
15 minutes tuning
at
that
all.
thing in.
On any band.
So we worked a total of 12,
Any band.
12 counties.
Crazy.
It's that iron curtain around.
And then
Total silence.
it looks like as far as people who went into the log, we had Chris, myself, Mike, LQ, David, CIM, John, UBK, and it looks like Art, you were on the air as well. Thank you very much.
That's okay, my pleasure, that was fun.
And then Bob, CA, who's not here. Bob was on the air as well. I will say that we had 1 person that made 61% of the contacts, the other one made 22% of the contacts, and then it was slightly below that for the others. So there was a good majority of contacts made by 1 or 2 people. That's great, but at the same time, I'd love to see more people operating more contacts on the radio. If you're going to go to the event and work on the radio, try to slam out 30 or 40 contacts, and we'll go from where we were, which is a total of 208 contacts, up to who knows, 500 maybe.
What's typical for this club?
Well, before we were doing about 500, but the bands have been, they keep going down
Terrible
low.
this year.
I'll say, I'm personally, I made 45 in 2 hours, so that's
We
not
only had a
terrible.
2-hour, but you were on 80, I think, weren't you? 80, you started on 40, I think you went to 80.
Yeah, I think I was on 40.
But you're cranking
and I
out
went-
pretty good.
Yeah, so, it was 45, and the next above that person was there the whole day, and they did 127. So, but we only have 208 total, so that accounts for 175 right there, pretty much. So, like I said, it's great that everybody showed up. I'm really happy. I'm sure there were probably even more people than I mentioned that were on the radio, and that's fine too. If you show up and you don't operate, you don't have to. There's no rule that says you have to operate. So anybody who wants to come to the event, even you guys,
Don't care, I was there.
even if you don't have a license, you can still.
John will feed you.
Yeah, John, you're gonna get a free meal. So, you're not gonna beat that. Yeah.
You'll have fun, you'll learn something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even
we'll
if
have
you
fun.
just hang out and watch what's going on, if it's something that might interest you later on, then at least you see what's going on, and you can see that the club has some camaraderie, and we're having a good time. So I don't mean to make it sound like I'm punishing anybody for not getting on the air, but if you're gonna get on the air, I will say, please try to spend a little time. Don't do 10 minutes on the air. Try to help the club out and get these points racked up. Yes, Sarah's.
The female sounds good. I was listening to a contest this last weekend, and I was clocking them at 30 words per minute. I cannot do that.
70?
30.
Oh, 30. Oh,
I
okay.
cannot keep up with that. How do you get there?
Computers.
No, come on.
I was using a computer, that's how I measured
Well-
the speed.
That comes from years of being on the radio. I think that if you're going to learn code and bring your speed up, I think that reasonable as a training method, 20 words a minute, 25 words a minute, I think that's where you're going to top off as far as doing what you can do to learn the code and go fast. And the rest is time, just learning anticipation. If you already know what the person's going to send to you, your code speed exponentially goes up because you're just
Pattern recognition.
Yeah, you're waiting for the words to come out. It's like, and this is what I was telling the CW class also. When I'm on the air, I'd say 80% of what's being told to me, I already know what they're trying to tell me. So when they stop because they made a mistake, I don't even want them to correct the word. I just want them to keep going because I already know what they're going to say. So I don't need to hear that word spelled all over again. If they mess it up, I understand. So to be honest, I think that learning code and getting your speed fast between 20 and 25 is about as far as you're going to go with just training yourself. And then after that, it comes from being on the radio every day and having QSOs with people, and then you push yourself a little faster and then a little faster, and then you'll build that speed. So when you're at 30 words or 40 words a minute, it's from experience. It's not from I did this to train myself to get up to that. Because I think if you sat with a CD or a computer program and you had 20 word per minute speed, for example, and you sat every day and listened to that code and tried to go a little faster, I don't think your brain will pick up like it does between no words a minute and 20 words a minute.
You know, a buddy of mine was a Coast Guard radio operator, and to train to become a CW Coast Guard radio operator, you're almost a year in school.
Yeah.
And what they said they got so sick of it, they thought they were gonna wash out.
Yeah.
They really, literally did.
Absolutely.
And it's after all those months
Yeah.
of
8 hours a
ditty
day.
banging,
Right.
that, you know, it finally really started clicking. So
Right.
don't think badly about it.
And that's at 8 hours a day, 365
Yeah.
days a year, or maybe.
Well, and they weren't doing plain language, they were
Oh,
doing
no, it's
5-letter
all-
code
You're
roots,
doing code.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
random letters and numbers.
And they're typing them out.
Yeah, they're putting them on
They
a
don't
mill.
write, they type.
They're
Yeah.
typing. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody disagrees with what I'm saying. Please inform me how you think you can get up to anything above 20 or 25 by.
Let's just say this, Mike. You gotta stick with it. A lot. I've seen just in the. I got my 5 words a minute in 1992. I never really got on the air until like really the last 8 months. And I took Mike's class, and there are going to be times when you just feel overwhelmed. You know, Mike will tell you, I would screw up a D to a W or something like that. But you just stick with it, and then your letters get solid. Once the letters get solid, everything else. And I'm about 15 words a minute.
That's
But I
what
work
I
at-
am. I
I
can
work
do
at-
QSOs all day, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
but don't worry about it. It's like
Yeah.
it's like playing.
How come you're not doing 30 like he is?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think what you need to do is you just need to find faster QSOs, because what you've done now is you've topped your sending speed off. And it's like I told everybody in the classes, when you can send at 15, your receive is at 13. So you need to now move to a method where your sending is at 25 so that your receive will be pushed up to 20 or 22.
Right.
So you can't limit your sending speed, or your receive will never follow behind it. It's that linear curve that you're always going to be on. So the important thing is that you start sending faster. And of course, if you're sending 22, someone's going to answer you at 22. You may miss a bunch of stuff, but after a while, you'll start getting it.
You're getting.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a language.
Yeah,
It is a language.
it is.
And you don't get proficient in a
You
language
gotta use it.
unless you do it for years.
You gotta
and
immerse
years
yourself.
That's right.
And years.
Yeah.
And you go to class,
Yeah.
Right.
and you're
You're
in
not gonna
class
learn
for an
from it.
hour, and then
Yeah.
you get homework, then you do, languages in high school and colleges are 4 out of 5 days a week,
Yeah.
an hour a day,
Yeah.
with at least an hour of homework.
Right.
You know, so you're not gonna get there unless you put in that kind of time
That's right.
over many years.
Yeah.
You know, you take 4 years of French, you're not fluent yet.
Right.
No,
No.
no.
But
So
I
this-
will
this-
say, I have had people, and maybe some, even yourself, who came in with no code knowledge at all, and they'll leave my class doing 15 words a minute. But I'm
That's the
sure,
exception.
yeah, but I'm sure they're doing the work at home like I asked them to do, and they also don't have a brain like my brain. It's not mush
Well, you know,
and
people who,
full of holes.
people who are good musicians,
Yeah,
they pick it up.
yeah, clearly timing
They
is a
pick
lot
it
of
up.
it.
Right.
Yes.
Rhythm and timing, you know,
Well, that's what
it's like I
musicians,
explained in the class, you know, a C isn't da-dit, da-dit, it's da-da-da-dit. And when you know that rhythm, da-da-da-dit, you're gonna always be able
Well, being
to.
a drummer, Mike,
rec-
you know,
well,
you
yeah,
know,
sure.
It's the same,
too.
But that, it is true, and that's where it comes from. But, yeah, I think that,
No rhythm, no time.
don't worry about it. The answer to your question is, you're not gonna train yourself any faster than you are now. Maybe 20, maybe 25, but once you plateau around there, it's gonna be experience and you pushing yourself. So my answer to you is, if you're not using a keyer, you're gonna have to switch at some point to a bug or to a keyer, because you've gotta now push your sending up to at least 22 words a minute. And that'll push your receiving up to around 18. So it's time now to move. People ask me all the time, how do I know when it's time to move to a bug or to a keyer? And I tell them, when you can no longer send proficiently on your key, on your straight key, then it's time to move over. If you intend to increase your speed, then you need to send faster in order. You've already built your foundation. Once your foundation is built for the code on the straight key, then everything will come naturally after that. It's people who stop at 12 or 13 words per minute on a straight key that when they switch to an electronic keyer, they have a hard time ever getting their speed faster because they don't have a solid foundation to build on, and all they know now is timing. They know hold down that side for, 1/10 of a second, that side for a 1/4 of a second, and you're gonna get that letter. So it's no longer Morse code, it's just timing. So you must get up to where you are currently before it's time to switch over to an electronic
Yeah,
or a
don't
bug.
get caught in a rut where, if you're comfortable with one thing, I mean, you wanna progress, but if you're comfortable here, a lot of guys just stay with it.
Yeah, some people
And
never go
that's okay.
faster. There are people who stick at
That's
15
okay.
forever. But anyway, that's my suggestion. I think maybe it's time for you to buy a bug. And I tell people, listen, go to the bug next because you enjoy CW and that's why you use it pretty much primarily. And if that's the case, then why not go to the next level of skill, which would be the bug, where you have fun learning a new technique. You already know the Morse code now. So now all you have to do is learn that timing.
Right.
And once you have, and you can learn that timing in 2 days, literally. EISH5. If you learn that, the DAWs you're already making manually, so you've got to make them. But if you can know how long to hold it down, then you'll be able to add the DAWs in, and you can learn that in 2 days. You just practice EISH5 over and over.
Or just go to the bug round, do the bug round.
Or do the bug roundup, and after, a weekend of sending on a bug.
Yep.
So if you don't already have a bug, I'll loan you a bug for the roundup.
Yeah, there's a couple loaners floating around, so.
Yeah,
I loaned him one for a while.
Yeah, I'm using paddles, it's working fine. I had a
yeah,
hard time
then
with
turn the
that.
speed up. That's what you need to do. Learn this, you know the Morse code already. Turn the speed up. Go up at least 3 words a minute. That's all. Don't push any more than that. 3 words a minute. If you're at 15, put it on 18. And then you're gonna find that your receiving is gonna go from 13 to 15, or if you're, at 20, if you're at 18 sending, then bring it to 20, and then your receive will go from 15 to 18. So just move 2 or 3 words a minute. That's all you need to do. And then when you're proficient sending it, the copy will come up. When you realize your copy's there, turn it up another 3 words per minute. And just move
Yeah,
up
there's a
slowly.
point where that doesn't work anymore though, but.
Right, well, that's what I was telling him, is,
But
you're
it's
gonna
only
get to
for-
about 25,
You hit a
and then
plateau.
you're gonna get to 25, and then the rest will come from using it all the time.
But
All right.
It's really weird, because when you get to real high speeds,
Yeah,
and everything sounds like it's all run together.
yes,
And then one day, I don't know how you explain it, it just happened,
yeah.
if you just do it long enough.
Yeah, you
That's
get over
all-
that
that's
hump,
all-
and then all of a sudden you hear burp, 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 and it's all words. Don't ask me, I don't do that. All right, let's take about a 10-minute break, and we'll come back, and then we'll talk about the bug roundup, since we mentioned it. And I do have something I want to let you guys sign, another one of these cards.
What?
Get the brain.
Yeah, so we'll just take maybe a 10-minute, and come back about 15 or 20 after.
Don't want any leftovers.
If you want to see the results for the California QSO party, it's up here. There's also a very hard to see graph. If you want to read the graph, it'll tell you how we did on each band. Pass it around.
Well, I practice off the air for over a month
Here you go, Chris.
before I
I do
put
that
my
too.
bug on the air, so.
It's peanut butter chocolate chip. Ooh, I like soda.
How many do you want?
Chris, did you make them? No, my wife did.
That's Mark's. Oh, wait a minute. Are there two of the? Oh, I'll take those.
Mm-hmm.
I found that really interesting.
They're all QRP.
Yeah, the contrast here between the dark blue on the black background.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. I tried to bring the The line tells you what band we were on and how many contacts. It's how many contacts per hour on each band.
Oh,
Okay, that's helpful.
Some of these,
I don't know who brought
they
those.
have entire station is less than 5 pounds.
Did you want water, Chris?
Antenna, mass, battery.
For a while there, it seemed like all the amenities were terrible.
Absolutely.
You know,
And
they were about 11:30, 12:30, you know.
Oh, no, that's
just right.
that kind of stuff.
We got
I don't know
here.
if you saw it within the last few months.
Let Patty know these are good.
The highest.
Say thank you to Patty.
I did.
Okay, just right over here.
You may, you only get into one plate, tell me I'm gonna be there in about 15, and then we're gonna have a time.
21,000.
Yeah.
I just leave just about 10 minutes.
I hope so.
We can do it.
With the time of packing stuff up there, that's where you're getting where you need oxygen.
The only thing I got going on here between, I'm playing golf on
Someone
Sunday,
disappointed to hear
but Friday's open,
what
Saturday's
he used because he actually used VHF.
Oh, it's time versus context.
And
Time versus context.
that's all I'm doing, but that's not where my interest is.
I have
But
some family issues that might come up. If I'm free, I'll give you a call. You're not
on
on
your site,
All right,
because you have to pay 4 contacts in order to have a legal activation. So he wasn't gonna climb 21,000 feet and not be activated. So we got people like local peaks, and I think he had.
we can.
Tell Patty they're very good cookies.
Good candidate.
Dressing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're interested in code.
Yeah. I'll mention it.
Exclusive. So that's more what my interest is. 20 meters.
So bad. Not bad at all. They're low calorie, man. I think
So
they
the
got all the
graph,
sugar,
the
all
graph
chocolate,
shows,
yeah. They got it all in there.
Oh, yeah.
In this room, and in the hobby in general, it was
So I wouldn't mind having a slow speed that of our
you
own,
know,
but it won't be on 10 meters.
I never remember.
During it, yeah.
I think that they're just on 10 because they didn't have the ability to go any lower.
So I think 40 meters would be the best bet, but
for any radio.
Even 17.
a lot of people don't have antennas for some of those models.
There are some.
Yeah, but if you have a dipole for 20, then you could use it on 17.
You know, it's an interesting hobby because, like you said, so much of it is so.
I was looking at a 60 meter antenna that are selling now that has a 15 meter trap in it.
Very physical, real world.
And I'll use one of my Rayco 15 meter traps I have left over
Back down.
and then make a 15 meter leg and then add on. Wait until the SWR goes down. See if I can use that on 60. There's actually some,
Principle is exactly the same.
there's people, I've run into Chris here a couple times and there's a guy over where in Benicia.
I used to get a kick out of it because
Hey Chris, that guy on 60 meters,
I did residential.
is he in Benicia or Alameda?
medical service.
You about NI-6A?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Over and over again.
in El Torito.
Oh, okay.
I have on my sheet, it says stall.
He comes in pretty well, doesn't he? And
When he's on the air, yeah.
then the guy underneath the, Indian drive in,
So I,
Yeah,
he's always pretty loud here.
yeah. I haven't heard Steve, the ESC, I used to talk to him like every 2 or 3 days, and I haven't heard him in years.
Still a member.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I know he come up
here,
here.
we'll have a seance, we'll fix this thing right here and now, we'll take care of it. You know,
Know what his plate or what happened.
But it was funny.
Well, things happen, people get on the air and they get off the air.
Yeah,
Well, we know that, don't we?
I was hoping we'd be broadcasting.
You know what happened when I got off
People
the
could
air?
actually
Yeah.
watch. I have to send an email.
Tried to
I'll
peek
see what
out.
the room thinks.
We're gonna be relying on good old physics to fix this one.
You tell by one of the boxes.
It's always
Anyway, I'll want to talk to you about that.
So Phil, you can just put those right onto your QRP records.
I heard him a while ago somewhere.
Tunes on the low.
So I know he's still on the
There
air.
you go.
There was this,
2-minute warning.
slash comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my.
I'm circulating around these little
So,
pieces,
as he says,
and then we'll, see
oh,
what
I
we
can
have.
definitely contact you.
I'll let 'em know.
Okay. And what happened was, she became a security risk, because a lot of these people were like, hired in television. And they wanted to talk to their good buddy, well, what'd your good buddy do? Well, he does radio. Spitfires and try to find the guy who's there. And it said, she wouldn't shut up. It's great, look, you know.
Instead of the bundle.
So you what she did, they finally had,
that track's been a little better
they arrested her and put her in the Tower of London for witchcraft.
Where are you at?
Well,
Because it's still on
I
her.
think sort of
Yeah.
deliberately tuned a little off, so you have.
And she was,
Yeah.
and yeah, because the wartime Britain, well, I'm sorry, as long as you're a security risk, you're in jail. So they held her till like,
No, there's a big,
probably July.
big war zone.
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah,
we're
select
not
the
gonna.
right one from
I went to his house, twice.
So what I did with my bag bug, the coffin bug, it was a little bit stiff.
Yeah, they'll believe anything that makes them
wasn't-
feel better. That's the
Wasn't
point.
real nice and crisp. I took it all apart, and I got the bearings out.
You were all bearings in?
Yep, and I got them clean, and then I coated them with white lithium
There's
grease.
those big toys.
They use for like car
Oh,
doors
that'd
and
be
stuff.
nice.
That's the last one. First, it's like, there's no toothpaste.
What I did,
Instead
of giving it to them out, you never see them again.
that's right, that's why I use the white lithium grease, because
It does handle a
they
lot?
all went to the.
You think that would
base
handle a
and they
lot?
held- They stuck in there until I could get the,
Do you think that'll handle a lot?
put back together.
Yeah.
Because they're little tiny things.
It's not very big, right?
And there's like four or five lower than 4 or
Big on the
5
bottom?
over.
What's that?
On the top.
So,
I don't know if I trust myself to do that.
the old coffin style bugs, the old ones that were like $11, Radio Shack or.
Oh, I remember those, yeah.
Yep. They got bearings, they've got bearing assemblies on the top and on the bottom. And I spent a day and a half trying to find where my bearings went to with a magnet
Find the bearings?
Oh,
on the carpet because they just flew
So
out.
you should have a magnet
They
sitting
weren't
there,
magnetic, right?
a
Yeah,
horseshoe
yeah.
magnet around it.
Well,
Are you still trying to find your
I
bearings?
was 16 years old, I didn't know any of this stuff.
Oh, that would work.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You took it apart, put the magnet
after,
around
after
it.
you've
Now, you
had
don't know
that
anything.
experience, you
Yeah.
understand why jewelers have the apron that they
Yeah,
attach
that's
to the
right.
workbench.
Yeah, they do that, sort of, it goes right there.
So you,
But what I did is I cleaned them because after 45 years it's a little
Right.
stiff, right? I cleaned the bearings and I cleaned the races out, and then I used white lithium grease.
Oh, right.
And I packed that in
That's
and
good
it
stuff.
held all the bearings in place, and I
Right,
could just
back
set
together.
set the assembly in and then put the
Right.
other assembly on the top.
You know what
Yeah.
you need.
you didn't prepare it about the bottom.
I know, I've been telling my wife I need one.
I have one, if you want to borrow it.
A little one,
It's a little one, not that big.
can you put a bug in here?
I don't think it'll fit a bug, but you could fit the assemblies in it.
Ultrasonic cleaners are
You're gonna take it off the base anyway.
way way cool.
You don't want it base to rust. So I can loan you
So
the,
using the Morocco razor.
The first Lightplex I ever owned was a lightning bug that a guy gave me because his son, who was a year and a half, spray painted in gold.
nice. You wanted a presentation?
The
Oh,
whole thing was spray painted gold.
You wanted a presentation?
you didn't wanna spend the money,
You didn't
right?
want to buy a
So
presentation?
he gave it to me.
Made his own.
At the base, I went to where the teletype shop, and
I'm
they
gonna
had
tell
a,
you,
Okay, there you
I
go.
wanted everybody to have a look.
there you go.
Oh,
You know,
so what did you do to teletype shop?
They take the teletype writers that
Oh,
need
yeah.
to be repaired, and they dip the whole thing in an ultrasonic cleaner.
Oh, yeah.
So I waited till they put clean water and everything in there, and I put that bug in there, and all of a sudden there was gold paint floating on the top of the, it took all the gold paint off and didn't touch anything else.
Well, back to stock, huh?
It was beautiful.
Oh,
It was, yeah.
yeah.
Nice. I like
But it was a mid-70s bug, and you can see how cheap it was made compared to the
that. That's pretty. So that's your storage box
What model was it?
where they all.
lightning bug.
Oh,
Nice.
that'd be a good one.
All right. Let's. I know we have a few other things to cover, and so I'll tell you what. We'll talk about the bug roundup in a second. I know that Phil wants to talk about his antenna idea.
Oh,
And basically what it'll be is a presentation, right?
Well, I think it's more of a little hands-on training aid.
Okay.
The idea is, over a couple of presentations, I've mentioned SimSmith to you guys, which is it's a program that allows you to match impedance to impedance. And, you know, typically when you have an antenna in the air, believe it or not, it is not exactly 50 ohms
What?
non-reactive, right?
No,
My
the
antenna
antenna
tuner
long,
makes it
Oh,
50 ohms.
Short,
Oh,
it may not be 50, it may be 72 ohms, maybe 36 ohms. And so the SimSmith program allows you to measure with your antenna analyzer, your rig expert antenna analyzer,
oh, yeah, right.
what the impedance is at the frequency at which you wish to operate. So these little modules I sent out, these things are actually a model of an antenna. In this case, this is an 80-meter dipole. But I did not set it at exactly 3.57 megahertz. I think this one I set a little high, and I may not have set it at 50 ohms. I may have set this one at 37 or 76 or 45, something that's not quite a perfect match. So you measure it with the antenna analyzer, and then this little device is a carrier for all these little plug-in modules. There are inductors, and there are capacitors. And SimSmith will tell you which inductor and which capacitor you need, and I have them all marked. You just have to figure out which value will match your antenna to the frequency that I've got it designed for. And so you measure the antenna, plug the numbers into SimSmith, it gives you the magic answer. You plug the pieces into these little boards and see if it's right. And once you do it once or twice, because I've got 5 different bands here, once you do it once or twice, you're very familiar with it. And when you run into that situation where you build yourself a 5/8, 20-meter vertical beam, you're able to figure out exactly what you need to match that. And it's easy. Show the camera. Talk nice to the camera.
You are.
The question is it something you're interested in doing? And if so, we'll just do them kind of one at a time, set up a little corner while the meeting's going on, and each of us have a chance to kind of play with it and get a feel for it. You'll be surprised how easy it is and how effective it is.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Does it give you a range, Phil? I mean, you say 40 meters, does it give you like just the CW range? Or does it...
I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna match it to, whether you like it or not. I've already got the answer, you just have to
There's
figure out
gonna
the
be a
solution.
test. There's gonna be a test.
The concept of the program is you see the mismatch and then it gives you an opportunity to choose the components that you think will fix the problem.
I'm
And
gonna
then you
say, you're gonna match this antenna to 50 ohms at this frequency.
Yeah,
And so you have to measure this model of an antenna, select the pieces that will perform the match, plug them in, and see if you pick the right pieces.
yeah, and then the program will analyze again and
And,
tell
and
you.
if you see this big puff of smoke come out of my computer,
Okay.
It's time to go home.
not a pretty picture.
Right, we'll choose a different frequency.
But again, I think you'd be surprised at how well you can do that, just coming right out of the chute. How simple it is, and then you know how to do it when you run into your own situations. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, so these are the components that will go into the board that he's made. So you would take that jumper off, for example, if it needed to be in series with the connector and this capacitor. And then if the program said, okay, you need whatever, 10 microhenry choke, then you would take that choke, you will now plug it in just like this here. My eyes are so
Are your eyes
bad.
as good as mine?
So you put it in there like that, and now that one just happens to be in
Something
parallel.
this age group should be trying.
Yeah, so it's in parallel with this connector now,
Well,
and then
you know,
the capacitors in series.
That's exactly right. Now, what I should tell you about this is, first of all, practically every antenna tuner in the world
Yeah,
is what they call an L network. And guess what these boards are? There's a provision for you to plug in the L network components, huh?
there you go.
Yeah.
Not only that, when you see how far the SWR is, when the antenna is off frequency at a different frequency than you wish it to operate at, and you're aware of how much power loss there'll be in your transmission line due to the high SWR,
Right.
you'll suddenly discover the real wisdom in matching at the antenna.
Now,
I mean, it makes a huge difference.
yeah, and where Phil is talking about is, as opposed to an antenna tuner where it sits at your radio, at the back of the radio,
Right.
these networks would be larger because they have to handle the power we're going to put through, but these would be at the base of the antenna. So
Right.
all your tuning is making your antenna resonant, not your radio thinking the antenna is resonant.
Because, you know, when you come out of the backside of that tuner, the coax that goes up to your antenna, that SWR is still at 17:1.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's not the 1-to-1 you're seeing on the meter on the front side of that antenna.
exactly.
Which
Now,
is where you lose all the power. So,
Yeah,
again, you'll be just fascinated at how easy this is.
so are you thinking, can we do it, obviously it's not exactly a presentation, but can we do it like in 45 minutes per meeting for
I
2 or
think
3 meetings
each
or
guy
something?
will need 5 or 6 minutes.
Really?
So maybe,
I think we'll just do it one at a time. I'll pick a little corner over here and they can come by and plug the things together. and
okay,
get
so
it
we can
going.
reserve 45 minutes or an hour at the
Fine.
end of the meeting, like we would a presentation. So instead of a presentation, it'll be hands-on in,
Absolutely.
okay. I think maybe what would be best is if you explain to them, the SimSmith, how to read it and then how to determine what you're gonna need, then they can go back and play with the pieces of,
I'd rather have them suffer.
okay, that's fine. What bands do you have antennas for?
We have, let me explain it
got
to
all
you.
of them, just-
I happen to have an 80-meter
Mhm.
vertical.
Okay,
How long?
By the way, it's short.
Yeah.
a little,
My
a
80-meter
little.
vertical is short. I happen to have an 80-meter dipole, and I think this one might happen to be a little bit long.
Wow,
And then I got a 20-meter 5/8 vertical.
wow,
At 43.
And then I have a 17-meter full-wave loop.
wow.
Don't be afraid of CCNRs when you have some.
I know, exactly. I was thinking the same
And
thing.
then the infamous 40-meter dipole.
There you
It
go.
may be slightly off frequency.
Maybe. All right.
And then again, our assortment of inductors and capacitors. By the way, all of these values are spot on for what we're going to do, but you have to pick the right ones.
Yeah.
So that's a log periodic there.
No log period. We can do a log period.
Well,
I bet
you
you
have an
could.
assortment of stuff there.
And just so you know, when you're done with this, they're good to 1,500 watts.
Oh, yeah, key down, right, 24/7?
Solid key down, like that amp with the brick on the key.
Right, the old Alpha.
The alpha amp, yeah, exactly. So,
We'll do it then,
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
whenever you wanna do it.
yeah, let's,
Next
we
meeting?
can start the new year with that.
Let's do it in the new year, yeah.
That could be the
perfect.
Christmas present.
And then, Rob, you have your bug, did you wanna
Did you like my
talk?
Yeah,
fancy
I'm
board
gonna
layout
pass these
software?
around too. These
Aren't
are,
those
Yeah.
cute?
this antenna field doesn't exist anymore. It was the NSS receiving station in Washington DC during the war. And they took all the Robics down, back in like 90, I think. And this, well, it wasn't a communications station.
Which war?
World War II.
Okay.
And it was built right after World War I. All of our buildings dated from the 20s and 30s, with all nice brick and everything. But it was closed down and then they had to reopen it again because our basement was full of telephone lines that went directly overseas. They didn't go through a switching station. So they had to use our ancient telephone lines for communications purposes.
And you took these when you were a teen?
These were off a 225-foot microwave tower.
Oh, nice.
That had stairs that, even that's gone. This base doesn't exist on the map anymore. You can't find it on the map.
It's funny, I got a call from a guy today, and he needed some help with an analyzer. And I told him, oh, you need to do this and that. And he's like, well, I'm on a 250-foot tower right now.
Yeah.
And I thought he was like working
was-
working at the tower. And then by the end of the
Yep.
conversation, I realized the guy's actually
On a
up
tower,
the
yeah.
250 feet.
Probably on a, no, this one had stairs that went up,
Oh, that,
and it was the tallest tower in the Washington DC area, so everybody had an antenna on it.
Jeez, it looks like
yeah.
But I had to go up there once a month to make
So
sure
this was
that it
Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, and the old NAVCOM unit, Washington.
What's it called?
It was NAVCOM unit, Washington DC, Cheltenham, Maryland.
Spell that?
CHELTEN
Oh, Shelton.
HAM, just like Cheltenham.
Shelton.
He's on Thursday
Yeah.
nights.
And it was really nice. I was the only active duty ham on the base, so I got to use all the nice rhombics and everything that was
That's the
still
old
working.
NSS receive site, right?
That was the old NSS receive site until they started putting houses around it. And they built the one in Sugar Grove, West Virginia, inside the mountain. That's where the national quiet zone is. You can't have a cell
Right.
phone.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of that is that Navy.
We need that today.
Yeah, they closed it down.
Did you take those pictures?
I took those pictures.
What
yeah.
year did you take them?
1980. 1980.
You probably didn't confiscate them from you.
But they didn't do it.
Mike, I brought something as well.
Oh, you did? Okay. Did you want to talk about your bug real quick?
Yeah, this bug, my last run through the swap meet, I saw this sitting on a table, and I had never really seen one with the brown base like this. They only made it for like 1 or 2 years. And the action, I think the reason it made it through the swap meet, the action was completely dead.
Huh.
It was just sloppy, and it just didn't even feel right. And I think people just walked by it and went, nah, so I bought it. Actually, I bought it from Al
Oh, okay.
Thurl.
Yeah.
And I took it home and I was looking at it, and I noticed that there's 2 rivets on either side of the mainspring here.
Oh, so it's like a presentation.
No,
They're rivets, they're
well,
not
no,
screws.
they're just rivets that hold the
Oh,
spring
okay.
at the main.
Yeah, yeah.
They were never really set.
Really?
They were like pushed in, and they were never compressed or anything. And you could
Oh, you could bend this, the steel spring?
You could do this around the mainspring on
Right.
both sides. So I put it in a vise with guards on it and squeezed it real tight, and
Nice.
it came back to life. So
Yeah, they made the base in red, brown, green.
Really, green?
Yeah, they made a green.
I have a
red,
green
brown.
one from 36.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't make a lot of them, so they're
No,
kind
they
of
did.
rare.
They're very rare.
But yeah, red, green, brown, black, gray.
Huh.
Yeah.
And I had a red one. I think I got rid of it though.
I've got a green one that,
Yeah, that's a rare one too.
yeah.
They're all the same bug, they're all the same Vibraflex bug.
But that
and the
one,
original.
the really neat thing about that is it still has a Vibraflex address in New York,
What is that,
but
50?
that came from, the brown base ones came from Portland, Maine.
And that's what, 50s?
No, that is from 1980. That is when,
80?
that is
With a
from,
brown base?
with the, well, the Sienna brown base was only made for like 1 or 2 years when they made the move to Portland.
I didn't realize that, now it has the Broadway,
It has a Broadway address, but the stamping for the serial number
yeah.
is that bigger, the large digits. It isn't the nice real fine ones
Yeah.
that Vibraflex had. You can always tell a Portland bug from.
So
because-
Portland, Oregon?
Yeah,
Maine.
Portland, Maine.
Or Portland, Maine, yeah.
Yeah, because it has really big obnoxious serial numbers on it.
Wow.
I figured for what I paid for that bug that I'd use the parts if need be, but it came back to life, so.
So you figure when it was manufactured, it just never was finished?
Vibraflex had a manufacturer, they had a quality problem back in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And that one, you could, if you really look at it and compare it to some of the earlier models, the quality is not there. There's just, you can just spot things after a while. You go, yeah, that's not quite as well done as. And there were actually some bugs. People I know, Mitch FPW.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how to use one.
He bought a new bug, got it, and it was completely unusable. You couldn't adjust the contacts to make.
Yeah,
or, I mean,
there's-
they
I
were,
wonder
they
if
were
that's
just
They
terrible.
weren't pressing
What type of fence?
the pieces in far enough is what was going on.
Yeah. and
So-
it was-
I don't wanna cut you off,
No,
I don't
that's
wanna
right.
run out of time.
That's fine, go ahead.
Mike, you have something as well?
Yes, so I brought a one-off key that I actually commissioned the guy to make for me.
Oh.
A small portable key. And it's arranged on a clipboard for soda work.
Mhm.
Because when you're up on a peak or something,
Put your paper up.
you have paper flying around, you have a rig somewhere, this rig might not be next to you.
Yeah.
Antennas somewhere else.
And the wind, yeah.
So it's mounted on a clipboard with paper, but it's a single lever paddle. So you can sit on the rock or on the snow or wherever you are.
Put it in your lap.
You don't have to hold on to the keys.
And who actually made it?
You have your paper. He doesn't make them anymore, I'm not gonna mention it. But it's-
Very nice.
So,
It's heavy.
It
That's
can be used
good.
as personal protection too.
Yeah, right. Well, it makes a good
In case
windshield.
of bear attacks.
Yeah.
Now, what happens, if you break your right arm and you send on your left, your clipboards, you're gonna have to,
You have to hold it.
I think you can do it.
Yeah, you
Shoulda-
put it behind your back.
should have had mounting bolts on both sides.
Wow.
If you can't figure it out, you probably shouldn't be out there.
Yeah.
Stay off the mountain with a broken arm. That's pretty interesting. It's nice
Yeah,
chrome.
you have to keep checking the soda website to find out where people are. I hear them all the time, but you
Now
don't know where they are unless you get online. And
Right. You have made that recently, right? Because it sounds like you just started getting into the soda stuff.
I've had that key for about 25 years.
Oh, it's not, okay, so I thought that was new.
I used that mobile, in my minivan when I did mobile CW and everything. At first thought, it seems kind of clever having the key being part of the rig. Not really so a lot of times because it's wedged here in a rock, you know, and it's might be nice to have it over there. You're not, usually in soda, you're operating a single frequency and people looking for you, so you're not really tuning around a lot. You may want to be in a tent, and depending on where the antenna is, your coax and all that kind of stuff, so it's good to have the flexibility. The KX2 I have does have the key on there, but this
Right.
gives you the flexibility.
Would like a leg mounted set of paddles be a better
Oh, yeah.
paddle
How
for
did that-
soda?
It can be. It's nice to have the paddle right next to the paper that you're writing on and everything, having a surface
Great, yeah.
there.
Speaking
So
of
these are-
which,
These are fairly simple, but really intelligent, practical things to
That's
do.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, how did that key that I loaned you come work out for you? Did you
It hasn't worked yet, I haven't got to it.
still haven't even gotten to it?
Yeah.
It's a nice key.
Yeah, it's, you know, just a single lever, magnetic.
Foolproof, not losing springs all over the place.
It's gotta be if I'm using it.
Go ahead and take those, Mike, if you want.
No, I'll keep
The
it.
simpler the better.
I'm just gonna,
Oh,
this will be perfect.
this thing.
So this is a receive-only station.
This was a receive-only station. And inside the ham shack, there was a huge board that was in the basement
Yeah.
You know,
with all the antenna connections, and the next room was where all the phone lines came in. And you could take a lineman and kind of jump across and hear all sorts of different languages being spoken.
Oh, yeah. You could just drill a hole and make it.
Yeah, I think it was the unknown thing. It was still live, so
Very nice.
apparently you forgot about it. I don't know.
I haven't seen it yet.
It has waterproof paper on there as
Thank
well.
Oh,
Again,
great.
yeah, it's,
Yeah,
Well,
that's,
it's
You
very-
can write on
I used to be a field geologist. And, you
Ah.
know, when it rains and gets moisture and all that kind of stuff.
And it never rains when you're in a field, right? It never rains.
that's surprisingly heavy.
It is.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
the key?
All those antennas are
Yeah.
all been bulldozed, every single one, they cleared the base out.
Yeah, for soda work, it could be lighter. You know.
Still, I mean, I think it's impressive, the weight, for being so small.
I think it makes
I know.
It's gotta be more macho,
Great.
that's all. Only ones use plastic keys.
Okay. Cool.
That's nice. I like it.
Yeah, cool.
I can't use a single lever, but I want to use it
Oh, I
like
bet
a
you
bug
can.
when I,
Oh, I bet you can.
Side swiper?
I bet you
yeah.
can. Go down and, I'm probably the same problem you do, Mike. I can't really use one either. I haven't tried it long enough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old, dyed-in-the-wool bugs, people that won't use
Feels
one of those
nice.
newer bugs. They won't buy them. Quality,
Uh,
just quality.
Okay.
yeah, that's pretty nice. I like that.
And, pardon?
Feels really good.
It does now. You go to one side and we go.
What's that, Al's personal pal?
No, that has a KA7 FRS, he engraved his name on it, and I can't find any information on it. Maybe he never got it on the air. I don't know. But it was it's a beautiful key, but,
It's pretty
Yeah.
tight, cribbing that old and stuff. It's-
So this,
I don't think it was
this
very.
badge is loose, right?
Pardon?
The badge here is loose.
Oh, the pins maybe.
Yes, no, there's no pins in them.
Oh,
They
they're
glue-
not.
they
Oh, yeah,
glue
yeah,
them-
it's
They
glued.
glue them
Sometimes
on.
they curl up on the edges, just don't pull
Well,
out.
yeah, I actually took that off to clean the base
Oh,
up.
okay.
See, Viperplex did things like that. They said, oh, it costs too much money to drill 2 holes in pin. So they got cheap and they didn't pin them, and they just put glue under them. One of the other things they did in the deluxe models,
You really can.
Seems like everything went that way in the 80s.
70s, it was in the 70s, yeah.
Late 70s.
They just went.
That's when the
cheap.
NBA started running businesses.
Right, there you go.
Had them thread the base.
But one of the things that Viperplex did, the deluxe models had jewel pivots.
So that you could.
They actually used jewels for the pivot. Well, it insulated that dot rod, the dot and the dash rod.
Okay.
They used to have a copper braid that ran from the frame up to,
Right.
and there's people that will not buy the newer Viperplexes because the deluxe models don't have that.
No, they don't. Well, I've seen them on the deluxe though.
They
Not
don't
in
have
the
a
model.
shorting bar either, do they?
No, well, there's a Benny K5KV is a club member.
He got a 1979 one, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I think he put a braid on it in order to short it out.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You know, that's funny because I see, yeah, you're right. It's definitely not pre 80s with that no shorting lever on it.
Yeah, there's no shorting lever on that one, and there's no, since it's not a deluxe model, it doesn't need a shorting braid.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you see keys advertised on eBay that said they've been lubed.
2-weight small, that's what I
You
was
don't
saying.
wanna, you
Either
don't
has the
wanna.
one large weight or the two
You don't
small
wanna
weights.
lube these things,
So this one has 2 small
because
weights.
you want the
Remember last
contact.
night, yeah, John's was 1 large weight.
That had one large one on it.
Yeah, I figured.
You know, graphite was a common lubricant for something. Just that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you for bringing that in, both of you guys. That was fun to look at. And also, Phil, thank you for bringing your stuff in so that we could
See the plates.
get a
Chris,
preview
so-
of what's
Yeah.
to come.
Yeah.
Let me just finish up here. First, does anybody have any club business that they wanted to discuss? Or I'm assuming we have no more swap meets, so Pacificon probably ended us for the season.
When's the end?
Yeah.
That was it, there's no more swap meets till what, March?
Yeah,
March,
probably March. So, any other club business otherwise? And then I'll finish up with Bug Roundup.
Bug roundup. that's-
Bug roundup. You don't even like my monthly report, because you wouldn't want to tell.
So, we are, what, about a week
Week.
away? We're 1
Week
week
and 1
away.
day.
Week and 1 day away.
I don't think I do the
So,
place though.
yesterday,
The feet
I went
bug
ahead
place,
and
they're
announced
hard.
the Bug Roundup on the internet. We find that when we actually tell people that the Bug Roundup is happening, it tends to have a little bit more popularity. So I went ahead and posted in the groups. If you guys have any groups, IO, Elecraft or ICOM or something like that, if you're in one of these bulletin board groups online, you probably saw the announcement for the Bug Roundup. And then in addition to that, I sent out emails to everybody who registered. On our website, we have the sign-up sheet for the Bug Roundup event, and it's not a registration as much as it is to get your name on the email list so that we can notify you when there's a Bug Roundup. So if you're already on that, you don't really need to sign up again. Really only need to do it once. But
What about the schedule thing?
yeah, that's true, actually. If you intend to work the event, this year, I believe, Mike, you're taking, what, 7 hours of the Bug Roundup? You're gonna sign up for W6SFM for 7 hours?
Yeah, his name's already on there.
Blank
His name's
stare.
already down.
Yeah, on the,
We're shooting for 96.
okay. Well, you can't because Rick has already signed up for about 4 hours or 6 hours. So the event starts Friday at, not this Friday, but
15th,
the 15th. It starts Friday at 4 p.m. and it'll continue till 4 p.m. on Sunday. And there are 2-hour slots for members who want to be W6SFM on the air. If you're a member and you want to sign up, then you do have to go to the registration and you do have to fill it out, because on there it asks you what hours of which days you want to work. So I'll look for your sign up where you can pick your hours. Right now, Rick has signed up for 4 to 6 p.m. on Friday and 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, I believe. So those are filled up. If you can wake up earlier than 6 a.m. and you want to get on the air, great, sign up for that. If you want to work during the day, that's fine. So that's a 24-hour thing. We want to keep W6SFM on the air for the full 24, or 72 hours actually. So is it 72 or 48? I guess
48.
Yeah, so the full 48 hours, we should really keep the station on. Generally what happens is, if you guys don't sign up, I end up sitting at my radio for 40 hours. So, yeah.
Your kid may have something to do with that.
You know, and I end up being up till 3 in the morning on the radio, and then usually Benny will come in between 3 and 4 in the morning and work till 6, and then 6 Rick comes on. So I'm lucky enough that I don't have to be up more than till 3 in the morning. So if somebody wants to sign up to be on the air at any time, that's fine. Like I said, I do know 6 to 8 for Saturday and Sunday are taken, And I know that 4 p.m. till 6 p.m. on Friday are taken, so any other times. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you on the web, because what happens is everybody picks what they want, and then I make the schedule. If there's something that conflicts on the schedule, then I contact you and say, this person really could use it at that time, can you move yours? But speaking of the announcement, like I said, when you make an announcement, people actually come to the webpage and look, and people actually know that the event is happening. We found that if nobody announces it, nothing happens on the air. So I made the announcement about 11 o'clock in the morning yesterday, and we have had, I wish I could get online now, but I can't, but I believe that we've had about 200 people that have viewed the web page in the last 24 hours. When I checked it at 2 o'clock today, did I not write that down? I know I did. Shoot. I don't remember what it was now, but, maybe I wrote it on here. Yeah. When I checked it again at 2 o'clock today, we had, it was 155 people that looked at the site. And then I just took some stats to give you an idea here. The first hour that I announced it, it's amazing how many people are sitting at their computers just waiting for an email to come through. In the first hour, I had, is this the first hour? Yeah, first hour was, sorry, I was not quite as prepared as I thought. I had this all written down. First hour we had 35 people sign up, and we had, in the first 24 hours, we had 18 different countries look at the website.
Wow.
So we had 140, in the last 24 hours, we had 140 United States, people in the United States look at the page. We had 7 Canadians, 7 from the UK, 6 from Brazil, 4 from Australia, 4 from Germany, 3 from Belgium, 2 from France, 2 from Indonesia, 2 from Japan, 2 from Portugal, and then we had Argentina, Greece, Netherlands, Romania, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, and South Africa visit the page, all within 24 hours of the announcement. And like I said, the last time I checked, an additional 35 people who have never been in the bug roundup before signed up to be reminded for the next event and registered their keys. And then we have a total of 421 people on the list. Actually, I believe before I left the house, it was 436 people. So 436 people on the bug roundup list currently, 35 new signups within the 24 hours, and then about 200 people from 18 different countries looked at the page. So making that announcement really makes a difference, as you can tell.
Are you recommending any ban plan?
Yeah, if you go to the website, there's this place called W6SFM.com.
Is that on the
That's
web?
what I do, isn't it?
Oh, I can't go there, as I can't get online. If you go to W6SFM, in the blurb about the bug roundup, it tells you what bans are available. We recommend 20, 40, 80. Actually, I think it's 10, 15, 20, 40, 80.
Yeah.
But we say that the work bans are still okay, because it's not a contest, it's an event. So if you can work people on 17, which I find there's more DX on 17 meters during the day than there is on any other band,
Yeah, that's true.
then by all means, if DX is what you're trying to get, if you're trying to work one of these countries, and I can tell you at least 4 of those countries have signed up already. So if you're trying to work one of these countries, your best bet will probably be on 17 meters during the daytime.
Around 18080, right?
Yeah, 1880 is where I would suggest, between 50 and 80. But I think that we put on our page,
100 to,
yeah, what is it?
bring it back up. 100 to 110.
Yeah, 100 to 110. Kind of push the people up the band a little. But
There's
you
a
will
lot of
probably,
DX
yeah.
stations there.
But that's because if you're trying to find people within our event, you want to go where the event
Right.
people are. If you're just trying to work people on the air that may or may not be in the event, 080 is a great place to park yourself.
Right.
But on the other bands, it tells you that you should be between what, 40 and 50?
40 and 50, correct.
Yeah. So 7.040 to 7.05.
I know the frequencies, I was just wondering, when we sign up, whether there's any general
Oh,
recommendations
no.
on bands?
No. You can
I know
be
the
on any
frequencies
band
are there.
because there is only one W6SFM station on the air at any one time. So there'll never be a /5, a /2, and a /6. It's only one. So you have free reign of any band you want to be on for that shift that you're operating.
So basically during your period, look around,
You're free.
any band that you think might be open.
That's
You
right.
want them,
Yeah.
you want them to use the live chat window.
Yeah,
to tell
and
everybody,
that's
right?
the other thing is you want to use the live chat window, and when you sign up, one of the things that I do is I send an email to you that tells you how to log on and, ask
Announce
you.
your presence.
Yeah, once an hour is enough to just to say, W6SFM is on this frequency. Because we do have about 100 people or so that come and go on that chat window looking for a W6SFM. They want to work the main station. Speaking of which, the California QSO contest, we did have a station that worked us, and once in a while it happens. Stan sent a QSL card for the club because he worked us during the event. So what we're going to do is we're going to return a QSL card back to him. So members that want to sign the card, it's a very small area, so you can
Right, small.
you can put.
Who worked it?
I did.
CW.
So
You sure that?
yeah,
You're bad.
I went through the log. I can actually see it in the log because we put our initials in. So if you want,
Small amount of area.
what we'll do here is, what was that, FT450D?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, FT450D. And then which antenna were we on? That was the loop?
What band?
That was on 40, I believe. Let me look.
Yeah, probably the loop.
Yeah.
He said it was,
Did you sign it if you weren't there? Oh.
no, 20 meters.
It's a pretty cool little report.
20 meters. What's that?
It's a pretty cool little report.
Yeah, I try to keep track of that stuff. 20 meter loop?
It's an 80 meter loop.
No, it's a,
Tuned to
it,
whatever.
okay,
Tuned to what, 20 meters?
yeah,
So it's an 80 meter loop,
okay.
horizontal.
And then that was 100 watts, and we were in Fair Oaks.
Yeah.
The percentage of this club is from Fair Oaks.
Yeah, a lot. So if you wanna, there's this small area right here that you can just either put your call or your initial or whatever. I'll fill in the rest of the information later, but it's always nice when we send a club card that members sign the card. So I'll return that to him, filled in with the rest of the information, and just like I said, jot your call or put your initial or something, just so he knows that everybody saw his card. Okay, so bug roundup. It's at your own house, so you don't need to, we're not gathering anywhere, but get on the air and
Somebody needs to borrow a bug.
if somebody needs to borrow a bug, let us know. We have plenty enough bugs between us to go around to get you on the air with a bug.
We can make them slow.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
We
I've
can
got
make
it.
them slow.
Are you recommending 18?
I don't recommend anything at all, because it's a rag chew. So whatever the other person's capable of, you're welcome
You're
to.
doing it. Up to you.
Yeah, up to you. You don't have to slow, I mean, you slow down for someone who's slow and speed up for someone who's fast.
That's the way it works.
So, yeah, you don't have to.
CQ at 35 now.
A 3x3x3x3x3.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You talking about millimeter?
Holy smokes. Can we get a statistician in the crowd?
Yeah.
Listen, I like to keep records.
International status.
I think it's fair to say he's a
Does
little
the
lighter.
term retentive mean anything?
Yes, and,
Hey, what?
and I'm not saying that, that's not the case either.
The other would be loose as a goose.
Yeah, I'm just fine being tight like that. You know, I think it's good information to share. The thing is, though, the reason I did 24 hours and 1 hour is because those stats go away, and there's no way to recall them by the hour after 24 hours.
Wow.
That's just how the
Oh,
system works.
right.
I only get 24 hours to keep records, and then after that,
John
it's
does
all.
that
These are- these are
He does that with the no filler.
I have blends and
One
blends.
thing that you may want to do, though, if you go to our website and you look at the little globe, on the little globe that's on the right-hand side of the page, if you look at the little red dots, everywhere that there's a red dot, that means that somebody came to the web page and looked from that location. So I know you've got your phone. Check out the globe there, and you'll see that.
On the main page?
Yeah, it's on the main page. It's on the.
On the bottom.
It's on the bug roundup page as well, and I think they're two different globes. But
And if you click on the globe and then
yeah, right. You
drag
can
it,
spin the
really
globe
spin
faster
it.
if you want. You can rotate it.
You can make it do different things.
Yeah, you can make it get larger and smaller. But if you look at that, you'll notice that there's almost a push pin in every continent of the world. I think there's nothing in Antarctica,
That's what we need.
but we have something in the Arctic, but we have nothing in Antarctic.
We need to
So,
send somebody down there. Who wants to volunteer?
in any case, thank you everybody for showing up. If you have any questions, you want to make comments, or just slap Chris in the face, come on up. And otherwise,
Poor Chris.
we'll hear you on the
lifetime
Tuesday
job and
night
you're
net.
abusing it.
Oh, I forgot, that was one thing, Chris, if you want to read that real quick. Anybody who's interested, Chris has the net report for the last month.
Nothing from Dave.
Oh, you know what? I put my notes in the wrong one. Okay, here we go. Last month, we had,
Venus cast a shadow.
that's the right report here, sorry.
Many, many years ago.
Okay, here we go. Okay, we had 5 sessions.
5 sessions.
Never
Okay.
seen it since then.
And we had a
It's
total
probably my eyes.
of, okay, 39 check-ins.
39
That's
check-ins.
not bad.
That's
All right,
excellent.
and online was 11.
11 online.
He's got a
Excellent.
serial number. I'll check it out. We'll figure it out
So
sometime.
not bad.
Well,
Not
it's
bad.
kind of neat, kind of a neat thing, so.
I got the radio, the very first.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
The antenna.
Oh, you like that? You know, I've for years, I've been playing.
Oh, here it is.
You know, I built a simple little board, for example, so you can take an antenna line and show them what it looks like.
I like your video.
And then I got,
Yeah, it's
I just didn't
it's a
get
simple
into
thing, but
class.
The next one starts still. Oh, good night, everybody. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you then.
the way this is,